Hello again, everybody. This is Amorgin, and you're very welcome back to another episode of Star Trek Fleet Command Gate. And I'm very pleased today to be able to welcome Thaylor. Thaylor's a contributor on the YouTube channel and has suggested lots of great ideas to us. I did promise that we would get him back. He's joined us now, and I'm very happy to be able to welcome him in here to do this little bit of an overview on suggestions for the game. Okay, guys, so I have Thaylor here with me. You're very welcome, Thaylor.
How you doing?
How are you going?
Me. I'm okay. I'm really glad that you've brought me on here. This is amazing. I'm kind of Star Trek, to be honest. I'm kind of a little bit nervous, so please
No
bear
bother.
with me.
You have a bit of a storm over there at the minute, so we might get a little bit of interference. It's bad timing on our part, but you submitted me with a number of ideas, and I done a video on it a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about it. You promised that you'd come on with me, and I promised people you'd come on. So we have you here now. You happy to go through some of that with me?
Yeah. So let me just give you a little background on this list. This list is a list primarily from the Discord channel on the ideas and suggestions. Not all these ideas are mine, and I hope people realize I'm not trying to take credit for all of these. Some of these are mine. Some of these are
No
curated
bother.
from the community, and so I'm more kind of I'm think of it more like a conduit of a lot of these ideas, and then you're being the megaphone to these ideas to eventually get to the ears, and maybe even the development cycle of Scopely. So it might take
Sound.
months, might take years, whatever, but just that's
Yeah.
the goal here.
Fair enough, and I suppose just to add to that this list is by no means a fully comprehensive list. There are other things that could be added to this yet, and we've been through an update, so it's slightly out of date. So when we're talking about being a conduit through which to get through to Panic and Scopely and the gays in terms of these suggestions, we mean it in the sense that generally for the ideas from the community as opposed to just this list alone.
Exactly. So, and some of these ideas, you've people listening and people in Discord and stuff, it's primarily, you're going to say, hey, I came up with that, or I agree with that, or I've discussed this with my friends and other Alliance members. So, it's not, I just stress, I'm not taking credit for all this.
No bother.
This is just a conduit. So go ahead.
No problem at all. Come here. I wanted to, I suppose, like, I've got to know you a little bit, but everybody else there are probably wondering, okay, who's Thaylor? We've been listening to Amorgin going on for a while here now. Who's this Thaylor guy? Give me a wee bit about who Thaylor is in terms of your alliance and your server and all that, Thaylor.
Well, my name's Taylor Harmer. I'm in the west coast of the United States in California. I'm on server 26 in an alliance called Fed Up and Expanse. FUX is our call sign. I've been a gamer since the late 80s. I've literally been doing PvP or types of PvP before the internet existed in long form that you guys are there. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been around. I used to be a hardcore gamer, but now I'm consider myself a casual gamer, and I love the IP. I love Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek nerd, and this game just made sense for me, and it fits my lifestyle, and I really enjoy it, and I see so much potential in
Lovely. And you've been playing how long? Did you say?
it. Well, my first online game were BBSs, where you would call in over a telephone on a modem, and I would play a game called Trade Wars, where you would build up a planet, and you can buy resources in the game, and you would either buy attack ships or you can buy mining ships, and then
Okay, so
you
you've seen
attack other
this.
players.
Yeah, you've seen this sort of thing from its very very early days. You've seen how these games were going back. Probably you're talking probably 20 years or 15 years anyway.
More like 30 years.
Yeah, right. Okay. So that's to put it into perspective there for any of the guys that this is one of their first experiences in terms of games like this. Taylor's been around and seen it all. Come here and tell me, you've been playing Star Trek Fleet Command specifically for how long?
Mid-December is when I
Okay.
started.
Okay, so not very long after global launch.
No, but pretty there. There was a couple of weeks there I couldn't work or I couldn't play the game like over the Christmas holidays, stuff like that. But
Mm.
I stuck with it, and I've loved it ever since.
Very good. Any memorable moments on your journey so far before we get into the detail of all of this?
Probably the best in-game moment I can think of is being raided. At one time, we owned um, a system in game,
Right.
and every night, almost like clockwork, we'd be get rated by the top 10 alliances, and those times were fun,
Right.
really great. I mean, I'm sitting there with my Rialta, I'm sitting there with my jellyfish or whatever, and I'm sitting there attacking Kamaris at the time, that were 1,000 points above me, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And those just fun. But the most of it just with my alliance mates. That was
Yeah.
the best
And you're
times.
not your alliance. Where would it rank roughly speaking?
We're bump between like 7 or 9 on the server.
Okay, so you're top 10. You're free to play.
I'm I'm pretty much free to play. I would consider myself a minnow. I buy the occasional package here or there, but I'm not anywhere near a whale.
Okay, and what a level 27? Did you say?
Ops 27. I'm going to be to Ops 28, starting that on Saturday.
Okay. Okay, so that puts it into a wee bit of perspective of where you might be in terms of the game experience. Like, there's a lot of people out there in at a similar kind of level and similar stage at the progression curve. But we've discussed a number of times, Thaylor. You've contributed on the videos a number of times with ideas and different things. We done that other video, like I said, and there was a lot in that. So I'm going to try and get through some of that here with you while I have you, if you like, and. I suppose you can give me the benefit of your experience. You in your professional life, you have experience with games, coding, and all of that kind of thing. So it's knowledge that I certainly wouldn't have.
I can't disclose exactly what I do. It's classified.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's put it that way. But at one time, I did have a chance to work for EA in Canada.
Right. Okay.
But I declined that job. So let's put it this way. I'm a developer, and I know the game. I know games. Let's put it that way.
That'll do. Yeah, that'll do. And it's good enough for me anyway. But you've looked at this game from a certain perspective. I have to say, there's a lot of that stuff that you've gone through that I'd agree with. You've grouped together all of this stuff, so I'm going to throw out a couple of wee categories here, and we'll touch upon that as much as we can in the time that we've got. But the first group of issues from that last video, and guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back through the videos. You'll see Thaylor's thoughts. And these 40 items that were done. So Thaylor's grouped these together for us. First one here is mining. Quite a contentious issue for some. Anything in the mining section there in particular, Thaylor, you'd like to touch on?
So with mining, you have to understand there are different aspects, different type of players. The company wants to make sure we constrain the players from advancing too fast. So that's why you have such a hard time of getting uncommons and rares and stuff like that. So, and then the players, the mining player, the pirate player, you have those type of different players. So each of these ideas cater to a different aspect of that. So the first idea we have here is allow us to protect our miner like we do our station with our ships. So basically the idea with that was, how you protect your station with, you have 3 ships in your dock, 3 or 4 ships in your dock. And when someone attacks it, you can protect it. So when you're mining with your miner out there, your Envoy, your Horizon, whatever, your ship is so weak compared to everybody else. You can have 5 ships sitting around a miner, and I can walk up there and just kill your miner and walk back out.
Yeah.
And what I'm basically saying is, allow us to place multiple ships on the same node and protect that miner.
Okay, interesting idea. Yeah, interesting idea. So the power of your warship adds to the power of your miner, basically.
Yeah.
Interesting idea. Yeah.
And I would go further like that. Like, for example, the pirate, right? How many times you have I don't know if you haven't had this, but jellyfish gangs going through entire systems, or pirates or whatever, just wiping out entire systems, and it's trivial. They have a 150k ship, 200k ship attacking a 50k envoy. there's not really
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah,
There's no
yeah.
there's no there's nothing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, perhaps
So
perhaps armadas will offer us something along those lines. You don't know. We don't know what way it's going to turn out, but it has been thrown around the idea that armadas will essentially be groups of ships that will form one power block.
yeah, and that would allow you to do these faction
Yeah,
missions that are ridiculous
a
things for
couple
that.
of ones there, like the one that you say about allowing us to swap officers while the ship's on. Like that's a simple enough one there. A little bit like being able to swap out officers when a ship's tearing up and all of that. So we'll not dwell too much on that. The two interesting ones there in the main, the battle reports and the state of the mine while mining, how long it's been zeroed, and allowing to bump other alliance members off a node. Controversial enough, that last one. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, real quick on the mining report. So many times people kill your zero ship and they can lie or whatever. Oh, I was on the node for 2 hours. On our server, we use rules of engagement,
Yes.
and other servers, it's not like that. But on our server, it's pretty civil, and so we used screenshots to document that.
Yes.
Well, having that information about the node is very important. Timestamps of the state of the node, whether it was zero, how long it's been at zero, whatever. That's very important to us.
Okay.
Now, going to the alliance member, the reason for that in our alliance, right? Especially when you go overnight noding, right? When you go on a node, unfortunately, if people knew that their alliance members can take over their node when it got near zero or at zero, it would be less likely for people to put their botany bays with the wrong officers on a node sitting there for 12 hours and
Okay.
basically hogging the node. And
So when I done the video on this, I was thinking, geez, like that's going to cause chaos there within an alliance. If there's going to be rows within the alliance, why the hell did you bump me off my my node? Like I would have been back within 10 minutes or an hour. You didn't, Do you
yeah,
not think that'd be
like I
more
said,
trouble than it's worth?
yeah. Unfortunately, in this format, we can't go in depth on every one of these points.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just trust me. Every one of these points, there's a rhyme and reason, and we thought about all the actors that are involved. And in this case, it's basically to cycle the node and keep people using the right officers with the best shift. That's it.
Okay. Well, we'll ask people people who are watching and listening to leave their thoughts on that, and they can come in the Discord and thrash that out with us even further if they wish. The next section you've grouped together there is missions. Now there's a number of ones I think. Warping is the next one before I come to missions. The recall button in warp, that's a common enough one, very simple there what we're asking for, and if not that, to turn it into a stop button. Now there have been those out there saying that it would need to change the coding of the game to stop it in mid-transit and dump it off at the nearest system, that there is actually no in-between points. It's a start point and an end point with what's essentially a fake transit time. There is no transit.
I disagree, because
Okay.
if you open your graphic, if you open your a galaxy view, for example, and you're warping, you see your ship moving across all the systems. So if you can calculate the times between systems, and you know how many times you started warp and adjust for all the researches and the speed of the ship and warp time and all that stuff, then you know approximately where the ship is. Actually, you should know exactly where the ship is. So if you
Well,
press
we're
stop,
led to believe that that's an animation.
I understand that, but you can calculate that, is what I'm saying. So
Okay.
I mean, so but the point two and point three in that list is basically how many times have you had multiple ships and you accidentally fat fingered, especially I play
Oh,
on mobile.
absolutely. Yeah, it happens all the time.
The locate button and the recall button are right next to each other.
I don't remember exactly where I heard this conversation. I heard that what they were talking about doing, or people were talking about it more, is moving the button
Yeah, if
rather
the
than.
manage button, all they need to do is move the manage button and swap it with the locate button, and that's it.
Yeah, you're gonna
That
have the
would
same
solve.
problem though if you're trying to hit manage and you hit recall by accident.
Yeah, but would you rather click the manage button or recall your ship that's 15 minutes away from your base?
Hmm.
Do you see?
There's not much management you can do on your ship while it's out and about anyway.
No, what I'm saying is, if all you want to do is locate your ship, but instead you recall it, That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's continue.
Yeah. Right. So warping was one there. Missions.
All right.
Um, a couple in there.
So with missions, there's a couple items here just to basically make the missions menu easier to navigate. Sorting them, finding out what missions are possible. Item 6, where you sort by donate, attack, faction. Sometimes maybe I did a raid and I have a bunch of dilithium, for example. Let's say, and now what missions do I have? Can I use that dilithium instead of upgrading whatever to donate? And what I have to do now is literally go through item by item, one by one, to find the donation mission. Now they have icons, but all those icons are at the stage where you need to donate. You see what I'm saying? So that is like we were talking about in the previous video. It's just a way to navigate the UI.
Yeah.
The enable mission reminders on login. At one time, when I was doing missions for multiple factions, I actually counted this, and I actually posted a video in the ideas and suggestions actually about this. I had 40 pop-ups, 40. I literally had to spam click to just get into the game. You should show a mission once, maybe twice if it's a faction mission or something like that, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I don't need a reminder every time. If I okay, I'm not going to belabor on that point. Keep highlighted. These are all very minor suggestions to make the menus or searching for missions and working on the same mission easier. That's all they are.
Right.
And of
Anything
course,
else? Yeah.
finding mission. Yeah, finding missions. One thing I want to mention: this game, way missions are done in the late game at my stage. If I complete one mission a month, I'm happy. But it's so unusual compared to any other game. This format doesn't allow us to belabor at that point, but I'm just saying that it's just unusual for this game to have something like that.
Okay.
All right. Next.
Yeah, well, I'll move on to the UI enhancements if we can. That'll be an interesting one for game designer Keenzer, I think. He had made the call asking if people had ideas for the UI enhancements, I think it was. Is that right?
Yes. So for me, being on mobile, screen real estate is very important. The best thing I think that happened the last 4 months was when they added the shield button on the UI. That is amazing. I love it. That's awesome. But little things like the slide out menus in the top left where it shows your ships, officers, and items, those sub menus should be, if I close the app and those menu items are closed, they should not reopen next time I open the app. Several times I've had my ship killed because I logged in the game, clicking through all the menus, and then I need to move my ship around or whatever, and I accidentally click on ships, and I log and I download 26 megabytes of data on my phone because I had to load all the ships, and I'm sitting there waiting, and then my ship gets killed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, so UI enhancements in the list of alliances show the last time someone was logged. Very simple A to Z filter on the member list. We have our alliance is 72 members, active members, right? And if I want to find somebody in that list and I want to message them or whatever, because I don't have a history in my chat, then I have to go find them. And it's just very minor suggestions that I think a developer can add in a sprint and very quickly add and implement these. I try not to. In the ideas and suggestion forum in the Discord, a lot of times people make these grandiose ideas and game-changing mechanics and stuff like that. That's not going to happen. When we make these suggestions are geared to making very small, very poignant. I want an idea. If you can put it on a post-it note, and a developer can have it on their screen, and then a month or two later they say, I have some time. This is idea I like. I'm going to try to implement that.
Okay.
That's the goal here.
Yeah, sound. Yeah. I'm going to try and move on a wee bit here. There's quite a few in the UI enhancements there. So again, people can refer to the other video and look at the list in the comments that you put on the other videos as well, Thaylor. Is offers the next one? The offers?
So with the offers, again, I'm not a whale and all that. So I'm very discouraged when I see $99 offers, $50
Mm,
offers in the game. But I'm very encouraged when I see, 5, 10, $20 offers.
yeah, yeah,
When you have very special offer, like, like the first offer that I thought that was a great was, this is going, I'm kind of dating myself. I think it was mid-February
right.
when they came up with the Spock offer. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this is great. I'm not have to pay
Yeah,
$100, but I like Spock. He's one of my main officers. I'm gonna buy this pack. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So for me, very specialized offers in the lower price lanes. Very, um, in my opinion, if they had an offer where they gave 40 uncommon for $20, I would buy that. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
I get you. Yeah, I
You
get
know,
you.
buy $5 for a rare. Whatever,
Yeah.
something like that.
Or
You'd be
maybe something
surprised.
like buy 50% boost to something to uncommon in the refinery, like that you'll get a boost
You
to that
know,
for 24 hours if you pay
you can.
$20. You know?
I know we're diverting very quickly, but if you had like offers like, 50% warp time reduction for the next hour, $5, boom,
Yeah.
you'd
I,
be
I I reckon
surprised.
they'd make a lot of money if they offered that for $1. You know?
Oh, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's say whatever, but I'm digressing. But basically, the idea here is that um, the offer should be more specific.
Mm.
If you have if item number 10, if you have a prime, just have the prime. I don't care about all those other resources and
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and all the kind of stuff. If it's prime protection, sell it for $5, $20, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's prime officers, just give me that. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't want all this
Allow
other stuff.
people to impulse buy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and item number 30, by the way, the RSS token thing that's kind of a moot point now because the RSS
Okay.
token system. So this at the time, like you mentioned, they had it very briefly where you can buy tokens for like a day or two
Mm-hmm.
or a couple hours, I think. But the RSS token thing is not an issue anymore. And I
Okay.
noticed more packs having RSS tokens in
Okay.
them rather than raw materials. In my opinion, I've rated people, and I felt bad when I rated them, and they said, I just bought this $20 pack, and you literally just stole it from
Yeah.
me, and I
Yeah.
feel terrible. Any pack, in my opinion, should not be rateable. Let's
Okay.
continue.
Okay. Yeah. Alliance tools.
So you can make a video just on this alone, but
Mm.
basically, and I understand that when they release the game, they can't have every feature you want. The Alliance tools management in this game is kind of lacking. To be nice. Basically, as an admiral or commodore, you need to be able to manage 70 people, and there really aren't any tools for that. And what I mean by that is, how do you know who on your alliance is active?
Yep.
When was the last time someone logged in?
Yep.
When you invite someone to your alliance, what alliances were there in the past? All these features are something that are common in other games. And I can, like, for example, in another game, I'm not going to be very specific, but another game, when I invited someone, I knew who invited them in my alliance. I knew what three alliances they were in and how long they were in each of those. I
Yeah.
don't want a guild hopper. You know what I'm saying? And this game with changing names, which we'll talk about later, um, it's so easy to impersonate anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I
That's
disagree.
oh
We disagreed. I think we agreed to disagree on the name changing thing. Yeah, I think you accepted the role play element. But certainly they could make it less difficult, like we discussed, like in terms of being able to identify a player who has changed names. That probably would make life easier. We'll move
if
on
in
to.
their
Go on ahead.
I want this is important. If they in their profile they had their name, a fixed name, but then
Mm-hmm.
they have their call sign, let's call it whatever
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
it. That's fine. I understand. I've changed my name. People have died or
Mm-hmm.
had cancer on our servers, and we change our names. We change our alliance names, to show support for stuff like that. So, that we should be allowed to do. But a identifying name that cannot be changed, that I know that this guy is this name, that's fine. It'd be sufficient, and I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to jump on to events here.
So with events, there's a couple ideas here. Some of these are not mine. Um, the biggest thing here in the events are leaderboards.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had contention about leaderboards for your alliance. So when you log in, when you go to the events tab, I don't know if you have that on your screen or not. I can't see it, but you go there. You have the event progress on the entire server, right?
Okay.
Those events completely, for me as a mid-level player, they're useless. The same top 10 people making the same events every time.
Okay.
So that does absolutely nothing for me. For me, I'm more interested in people in my same ops level and also my alliance. So if I had an event card right there that showed people of your same ops level and then the ranking of
Okay,
that,
so
then
is what you're asking for though is it for Scopely to change the event so that you're competing for rewards against similar levels rather than the entire server, or are you just asking for a display of information?
all three. Let me
Okay.
let me explain. So keep the alliance or keep the galaxy ranking. Don't remove that. In addition, add an additional card for just the same ops level. Makes sense? And
Okay.
the rewards would be adjusted accordingly for that. Makes sense?
Okay.
So, you have the galaxy ranking, and then you have the ops level ranking. You give it a different name, and then you have another card that would show alliance. And that one would have no rewards, obviously. But as a commodore or as an admiral, that is very. I want to see who in my alliance are participating in the event. Maybe they're having a problem. Maybe they have a wrong ship loadout or something like that. I,
Right.
I want to
Okay. Yeah.
engage
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
this would be an advantage. I want to engage those players who are not performing, and in the worst case, maybe even just remove them from the alliance if they're not participating. I don't want freeloaders.
Okay.
I gave one example of a new type of event called King of a Hill event.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there are so many event ideas out there. Not all of them mine, obviously. We can take them from other games. And I really want to point that out. King of the Hill event again. You warp in. You use a wormhole to go to a system. You fight against people either your same ops level or even better, the same power range.
So you're talking about
Because
creating an instance where our data transfers to a different server, essentially.
maybe
Okay.
World of Warcraft did something with Battlegrounds where they have people from different servers. They can join on one
Yes.
and fight in an
Yes.
area. So possibly something like that. But basically, if you're in let's say you're level 39, right? You're not going to fight other 39 people, right? There's like maybe two or three on your server or something like
Mm.
that. So an event like that would be useless to you. But guess
Mm-hmm.
what? If you took your Rialta, that's at like say 60k power, and went against other people with the same power level range, and you fought, that's content that can be just
Mm.
there. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
So do stuff depending on the power level. Maybe something like here's an event for people who want to for at 60k power. Here's an event for people at 150k power. Here's an event for people at 200k power. Depending on what ships you want to take out and depending on what level you want to compete at.
Exactly. And let's say you had a system, for example, where I don't know, for a short time they had like super fast G3 nodes, or even maybe in G4 nodes at certain ops levels, for example, power levels. And guess what? An alliances would get their ships, and I mean, it would just be an amazing event. I think. To me, that's how you do PvP events. You don't do it just random PvP events when you kill a
Mm.
mob. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But that's neither here nor there. We can belabor that on nauseum, and unfortunately, this format is not geared for
No,
long form
no, and we'll
discussion.
come to something on that in a wee minute. Okay, we're going to look at the accounts. That's you've grouped together a section of the accounts.
Yeah. So with this is kind of like a meta kind of thing, more outside the game kind of control.
Mm.
The biggest point, there are two specifically there that are really important. Notifications. We know that the notification system in this game, it has some issues, and especially when your base is being attacked. But also there's a lot of notifications that I don't really care for. Now, if you log into if you go to your settings, and you go to profile, go to settings, there's a notifications tab there. And at the moment, there's only a single on-off button.
Mm.
I think this is one of the features that was turned off or shortcutted when they originally they made the game live, that we don't have the control for all the different types of notifications. If you probably had your bank app or whatever other social media application out there, you probably have a lot more finer control over different types of
Yeah.
things. And for me, base attack, depleting a node, when your node's about to be depleted in a minute. Your ship has arrived, stuff like that, special events, those kind of things, the burst events, for example. I would love for that to be notified on my phone.
Right. Yeah.
But other events, like, I really don't care about that. To me, they're just spam.
Right.
So it's all detailed there. And some of those, again, I pulled in for other people, so it's not all. And when it says already requested, that means there's several of us in that ideas and suggestions channel in Discord have commented, and I just moved it into a single point.
Right.
Captain's log. This one I actually had a discussion with Vitamin C about. He is a moderator in that channel. I think if we just had more information of what the game knows about us, for example, we should have a place where we can put notes. Basically, I don't know if you remember, there's a bug where you can chat to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that feature. I used it as a bookmarking feature. I would put bases or systems or whatever, or missions or whatever. I would put little notes to myself and basically chatting to myself. I love that feature. I wish it was back in. But things like, your shield went down, your shield went up, your base was attacked, but meta things that I'm not about the
in-game records for our own personal use.
Right. And I'm gonna. We had a guy in our alliance 4 times. He lost over 200 million resources, and most likely he probably selected the wrong shield, right?
Mm.
But if there was a log that said, at 11 p.m., you opened a 4-hour shield, and it was very clear in that log, right? Then there's no point for him to open a ticket and get all scopely if it was a 4-hour shield when he went to bed for 8 hours. Make sense?
Yep.
So, in this case I said a captain's log, basically. Star date, blah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can put it in there, and I have a section in the game. But to be honest, if it was just a chat to yourself, it'd be perfect.
Well, I'll move on to docks now. Repairing the ship, interrupt the repair of the ship, and it'll be partially fixed. And docking in the Alliance members' empty dock. That's probably the big one.
I can explain that. So a lot of times we would raid at one point. When it made sense to have hives, we would raid other hives, and sometimes our power player would get in and make it basically a beachhead, and a part of the system that we can then warp in safely. What I'm saying is, to sustain those kind of attacks and those kind of battles, I should be able to dock into my alliance mate base and repair the ship. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that way, it's kind of like a forward base. And now, initially, when I made this thing, I said he would use the resources, but you made the point that I should use my own resources and speed ups, but on his station. That makes sense.
Yep.
So it would be a different mechanic, a different namesake. Like, for example, how many times would you? I mean, if you need to repair a ship and you're way deep in faction territory, and then guess what? One of your guys is in the same system you're in. You dock, repair, and continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea. And there's variations on it that if that didn't work with what Scopely are thinking, there's variations on that might fit. Right. But it's certainly an interesting idea. Yeah. It allows for more of that kind of, I suppose, teamwork. It makes your alliance more effective. Certainly on the founder server here, what I'm proud of is that we don't have an alliance of purely big spenders and whales. And then the rest of us are all kind of feeding from the scraps from the table. The bigger spenders on our server are spread out among all of the top alliances. And we have lower spenders and bigger spenders in our alliances, and we're all equal. I like that. The idea of the camaraderie and that we help each other out and all of that, that would work well for us. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, anything I think that that encourages you to be in an alliance. Obviously, the dailies are one of those examples of that.
Yeah.
But you want to dissuade people from being loners in the game. You know what I'm saying?
If you can. Certainly, if you believe what's like Scopely talk and Panic and all, they talk about building a community and things like that. There, if you look at any MMO that's out there, it's always very social. There's always lots of people interacting. That's what builds a community. I think that's what's built a community here. It's just I think generally the alliance function is undervalued. And certainly there's loads of room to make it a more central part of the game. I certainly think so. And maybe that's where Armadas comes in, you see.
Possibly. The way I understand it, as far as, we're digressing, I know. It could be like in other games where you can have servers attack other servers.
Possibly, but if we don't
know yet.
The only place you're going to see Armadas is if you click in your Alliance tab. It's inside your Alliance tab.
Right. So we don't know. I mean, as far as we know, it could just be a multi. In other games, they had it where an alliance can make multiple guilds can form an alliance. It's like a super alliance. So maybe they implement that.
I'd be more inclined to think it's along the lines that 2 or 3 people in an alliance can come together, like you were saying about the warship protecting the mine, or 2 or 3 people can come together and just every 2 hours, for example, you can create, or if you're a Commodore in alliance, you can create an armada. And if you create an armada, you put out the call, and depending maybe on your research or depending on your power level within an alliance, there's 6 spots free or 8 spots free in the armada, or 10 or 20 spots free in the armada, and it's like for 2 hours it's open, everybody joins, and then you go off and hit a target that the person who created the armada has chosen.
It could be as simple. We don't. Of course, we're speculating. It could be as simple like in other games where they have groups. I've come from World of Warcraft, for example, and you have a group. You have a fighter, you have a mage, whatever.
Yeah.
And you have five people who make a group. It could be as simple as that. We don't know. We're just speculating.
Yeah, we're speculating, and we are digressing. So I'm going to move on from that. Being able to remove officers. Independently repair a ship on a dock that's unlockable by research. I would love to see that. I would love to see if you've got 4 dry docks, you can repair 4 ships.
Yeah, I mean, but make a research item, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just something. I mean, unless I don't know. Unless you only have enough people on your station that can only repair one at a time, I guess. But game mechanic wise, from a player's point of view, when it takes 5 hours to repair a ship. And I go out and use another ship, and I have to wait till that one's done, or use speed ups. It doesn't make sense to me from my point of view. Go ahead.
Okay, you have a few miscellaneous here. New bank building. Are you suggesting that there's going to be 2 banks?
So,
because the bank building is there.
I understand, and it says level 50, but that's just a placeholder. If I'm not a game designer. I'm thinking something like a Latinum generator. In other games, you would buy a building, bank, whatever you want to call it. You invest money into it. Let's say you put 100 Latinum in, right? And then you gain 5, 10, 20%, whatever, depending on the level of the building as a return. And that's what it basically would be. That's the idea of the bank.
That makes sense. Market. When I done the video on this, I mentioned a wee game called Heroes of Might and Magic. They had a fantastic little market system, very very simple. The more you upgraded it, the more return you got in terms of trading any particular resource for another resource.
So I like the idea of training one type of resource for another type of resource that you need.
Yeah,
You might at one time you might need parts, for example,
yeah.
for a ship. You might have 10,000 interceptor parts,
Mm-hmm.
but you really need battleship parts right now.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Give us a mechanism. And it doesn't. I'm not talking about one for one. There should be definitely,
Well,
and of
maybe
course,
with research it could go up to one to
yeah,
one.
yeah. At level 50, be 1-to-1. I get it, but at level 25 or something like that, maybe it's like 3-to-1 or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
or something. But basically, I should be able to swap out resources that I have excess of, and for the resources that I need or want.
yeah.
That's the idea.
I'm getting loads of lag in this game while we're recording. That could be the whole internet issue. I don't know, but right.
Yeah, I'm almost on this side of the world, so yeah.
Let me see. Right, allowing us to sell
Oh,
ships for faction credits, scrapping ships and getting something back for them, and all of that would. Yeah, yeah. Selling your ships to other alliance members is another one I've heard.
I'm not sure about that. I understand there are some issues with that, but I like the idea of why is my shipyard only used when I build a ship? My shipyard should be running 24/7, donating these
Yeah,
ships
yeah,
to my
yeah,
faction. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We're in a war, with the Romulans, the Klingons, the Federation. Why is my thing? If I can create ships, why am I not helping my faction
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
that?
So
That's my opinion.
instead of donating latinum or resources there to improve your alliance, you could donate a ship, and that's worth X amount of resources or so
Yeah,
on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe you have maybe there's a card that shows up in the faction that says, donate an envoy and we'll give you 1,000
Yeah,
faction
yeah,
credits.
yeah.
Or
Lots of great ideas there. I'd like to see more in that alliance reward. You know the way when you donate to your alliance and you improve your alliance and it goes up a level, all you're really getting is extra space. It would be nice if every time you improved your alliance, that alliance-based rewards went up as well.
Okay. I mean, there's so many ideas, and this video is already going kind of long.
Yeah.
And I don't want to this format. Unfortunately, we can't discuss ad nauseum about each of this. I really wanted to talk about each one of these items on this list, and there's actually another list I'm working on right now too,
Okay.
and another 40 items. Believe it or not.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do, right? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll wrap it up now in a wee moment, but we'll invite people on Monday evenings. We'll try this out next week or the week after. Monday evenings, we'll come on to Discord and we'll give you more detail, but we'll invite people to come in and talk with us and have a wee chat in more detail. We might stream this or record it and put it up as a premiere or something. We'll figure that out. But we'll invite people to come and do a more in-depth discussion around this stuff and record it and see how it goes, Would you be up for that?
Yeah, I'm all for that, except I'm gonna be gone for the rest of the month. So
Okay.
but you guys.
Okay, well, that gives us a month to figure out if people are interested in doing that with us and going through more of this. I'm quite happy to do that as long as we can set aside a time that suits people, yourself in particular.
And by the way, I don't think I'm anybody special in all this.
We're all special, Thaylor.
Yeah, we are all special in some way. But what I'm saying is, stress. Not all these ideas are mine organically in our mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them I've taken from multiple people, condensed them, reformatted them, or whatever. So I don't want to think that this is all about me. And
no problem.
And
You're not on an ego trip.
Yeah, and
well, I don't think I'd have you on if you were on an ego trip.
Yeah. My goal here is to get these ideas so that more and more people will echo those to Scopely, and that Scopely in 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now would consider these ideas.
Yeah.
And some of these are very small, very minor changes to the game that I think would be easily considered. That's my goal here.
And generating discussion within the community as well. Maybe other people have other ideas, and quite happy to hear them.
And I see so much potential in this game. This to me, this game is a different than all other games. Clash of Clans, Plunder Pirates, and all Final Fantasy, all these other type of mobile games and the other companies. I see something different about Scopely, and I know in the community there's the freemium model. You have this disdain for that model,
Mm.
but it's a model that makes money, or else people want to be companies want to be investing millions of dollars into doing this. So from a consumer point of view, I see something differently about Scopely, and I hope and I see them take their attitude about things, and I want to make a special point out. If you go right now if you haven't already gone into the game and looked at your gifts, there's a 7-day storm package there. How many companies out there do something like this? I mean, I know it's a 7-day shield. People who are being affected, especially on the East Coast of Florida, Georgia and up the
Yeah,
coast of the
yeah,
United
yeah.
States are being affected by this.
Yeah, I suppose just to
These kind
clarify for that, I don't get that because it's only
no,
the US servers that get that. But you have received one of these 7-day tokens, Peace
yes,
Shield.
yes, and those kind of gestures. I actually have family in Florida, so for me, it's very important. I'm actually flying
Mm.
out there next week. But anyhow, it that kind of gesture for a 7-day shield, making the announcement in Discord and stuff like that, that endures us and gives us a more emotional connection to the company. I mean, if the company came out and said we're going to make a game on solitaire, you know,
Right.
I would buy it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's Scopely. That makes sense.
Yes.
That you're and people who are salesmen out there in the sales community, it's much easier to keep a customer than it is to lose a customer and then gain their trust back.
Mm.
You know, it's very, very rare you ever see that in industry. And I'll just put a real quick point. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky came
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
It was shit. They had so many issues with the game. But what, 2 years later, look at where they're now. But the amount of effort they did, they could have just released the game 6 months later or 3 months later, more polished or whatever, or reduced the expectations. But no, it took them 2 years to get to where they are now. So anyhow, I'll let you. This is I think that's all I want to say
yeah.
for
No, no
now
problem.
on this format.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to wrap it up now very shortly. Before I let you go, you'll come back, thankfully, and do a wee bit more with us in the future when you're back next month, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm so appreciative and that you've given this megaphone basically of many of the people in the ideas and suggestions channel and Discord. I mean, I'm just a conduit. I just
Yeah,
happen to
yeah, yeah,
consolidate the list, and I just happen to pique your interest. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So we're dating right now. So
yeah.
I want a second date. That's what
No
I want.
problem. That's 100%. You're buying dinner the next time then.
Okay, no problem.
uh, okay. Any final thoughts just on kind of recent changes to the game and the direction that it's going at the minute?
I think the incremental changes to the game are great. Swarm content for my kind of game style is very good.
Okay.
I'm the grindy type player. I'm okay, spending 9 months to get Carol Marcus, for example. I'm
Okay.
completely fine with that. That's okay with me. The fact that and I take no personal, um, whatever to people who want to get that ship, the Franklin or Carol Marcus on day one. I have no problem with those people. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I just want whatever resources that are available out there that at least people who can't or are unwilling to put money in the game can eventually get them. That's all I
Yeah.
like. I,
Yeah.
I love the fact, and the number one thing I want everybody to come out of this, when you get the survey result pop up, don't ignore it. You need to answer these feedback. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, Discord, yes, Reddit and all that kind of stuff. Other forums like this, where Amorgin and other content creators are creating videos and getting that information. But feedback back to Scopely is paramount. You got to fill those in. And I would also say instead of open-ended surveys, ask more long-winded surveys. I had a couple of surveys, but they seem to be dwindling around. Ask us very specific questions. Hey, do you want Ferengi? And by the way, I do have a hard on for Ferengi.
Yeah.
And how do you want Borg? There was a question that said, hey, do you want a wormhole to a different time and space, basically,
Yeah. And that's a community consultation. That's what that is. Yeah.
And so, and from me taking those kind of surveys, that gives me a lot of hope. I'm just and I mentioned this to Morgan before we got in this video, but I don't want a company, and I don't see this here, but I don't want a company to come in, buy an IP license, make a bunch of money, and then leave. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I want this. I want to be able to be saying and coming back on this on here and saying, I've been playing Starfield Command for the last 7 years, and now, whatever, what I'm saying? I like that. I want that community. I want to continue that.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. And this is my single game.
Yeah.
This is my game. I'm not, putting my foot in other mobile games or whatever. This is my game. And I just want the best for it. That's all.
Okay, that's great to hear, and it's been great talking to you, Thaylor. Hopefully you have safe travels and whatever you're doing in the next month, and you have a good time. I'll get this edited and up as soon as possible. It's been a bit of a long one, but we don't mind that. People can stick it on in the background and chill out, and if there's any and listen to it. And if there's any part of it, leave the comments below and come in and find us on Discord. We'll come back at some point in the future. Yeah.
Definitely. And I'll buy you that steak that you want.
100%.
For our second date.
100%. Much appreciated you taking the time out, man.
No, thank you.
No bother. All right, guys. So until the next video, look after yourselves, of course, and look after each other. And we'll catch you again in the near future. Cheers.